What is the number one tool to prevent trespassing at your multifamily?
So just to clarify, you said the number one tool to prevent trespassers.
Trespassers,
They're not supposed to live there, or that's okay. All right. So the question is, what is the number one tool? I guess, in my opinion,
right.
I don't know if there's a top 10 tools list out there, but maybe we should write one. Number one tool is also the most inexpensive tool that I've found for preventing trespassers to your property. It is the 99-cent no trespassing or loitering sign from Home Depot.
Really?
Full stop.
People just see it and they decide not to trespass, or why is that the number?
I wish that was the real reason. So quick story. When my wife and I first got married, before kids, we were living in a house that we rented, and it had a house in the front and a duplex in the back. It was a 3-unit residential, and it was off a pretty well-traveled road, and we would have people walking off the street, up our driveway into the back looking for something. A couple of times we had people going through our trash, nothing big, until one night somebody pitched a tent, like on this little piece of grass that was the common kind of grass area for the building. And we called my wife. I wasn't even there. My wife, obviously horrified, calls the police, show up, and then leave. She called the back, like, the police were here, they can't leave. Well, and they're like, oh, yes, well, that guy's allowed to be there. Like, what do you mean allowed? How's he allowed to be there? It's private property. He's like, oh, there's no trespassing sign on the property anywhere viewable. So she tells me this. I call the station, talk to the watch commander, and school inform me, please, as to why. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I a police officer, so check with your local state municipalities on what the actual rules, which the no trespassing sign is. However, for where I was at that time, pretty standard for most cities, I believe, there has to be some kind of posted notice that says this is private property, no trespassing. Otherwise, the assumption is it's public. Unless it's stated it's private, the assumption is it's public. That's why you'll see private property, no trespassing signs on even that first, 3 feet of concrete in front of a high rise. Like, this sidewalk belongs to whoever. So with a no trespassing sign, then you have displayed that it is private property, so that if the next time someone does walk into your backyard and set up a tent, you can't call the cops, because it did happen again several months later after we informed our landlord to put the no trespassing sign, and they were promptly hauled off. No trespassing sign was the 99-cent fix for that. It just has to be displayed in one spot, visible to the area.
Is that also with single family, or is that just...
Single family's different in the respect that it's typically gated in the back. Your front yard, yeah, that's typical.
Really?
If your front yard's not gated, if it's gated, it has a gated lock, and if they have to open something to get into, then they're trespassing. But if you just have an open front yard, no gate, no trespassing sign, assume public land.
Technically, you pitch a tent on your front lawn.
They could definitely pitch a tent in the front yard, and the cops you'd have a hard time getting the police to pull them off. You don't see that much with single family, but when there's more than one resident and in some open space, thing is like one resident doesn't know if that's somebody's uncle or who's that. Is it a kid camping out? And no one really knows, so they don't say anything. And the cops will do. I don't believe the cops are empowered to do anything if it's not stated that it's private property.
That's wild.
Even if you're standing there saying it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
So go to an NSN store, everybody, and get your no trespassing signs.
Amazon.com. It doesn't look it up. Look it up for your. Look it up in your local municipality. Make sure that your city, because there's probably a size and a font size, certain type of font, and maybe where it needs to be visible. Make sure you have all those boxes checked so that there's no technicality that can be missed.
It's ridiculous.
It is pretty ridiculous. That's what we must do in order to empower our residents, our owners, and such. And if they got to tell them to spend $1 on no trespassing sign, $1 well spent.
Worth it. Thanks, Trevor.
You're welcome, David.